All right, thank you. Thank you, Neha, for the introduction. Just quick, a little bit about myself. My name is Yong. I run an accounting practice in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I've been supporting small, medium businesses to onboard to e-invoice and using QuickBooks in the company that possibly needs to be tweaked because of e-invoice. Perhaps I've generally mentioned, there's a whole list of the processes here which you can go through. I'm just going to explain a few, like sales, current date of e-invoice. Some businesses have practiced to backdate their sales invoice. With e-invoice, that's no longer possible. Yep. And then because of the 72-hour requirement of e-invoice, so you need to look at whether before you issue an e-invoice, do you need to put in another layer of control to actually get approval before you submit the e-invoice. Yeah, it's no longer business as usual with e-invoice. Yeah. How to deal with cancellation, 72 hours. Like I mentioned earlier, what kind of policy to request for e-invoice? Is it 3 working days after the purchase or maximum 3 working days before the end of the month? Because there's a deadline to submit consolidated e-invoice. Okay, for the finance people, these are some of the processes that you need to review. How to issue e-invoice CN, DN, and refund, internal policies. What are the items that can be self-billed? Does it fall under the 9 scenarios which is allowed? And then for the finance people, happily you do e-invoice for the whole month. At the end of the month, it's important to reconcile what is in the My Invoice portal versus what is in QuickBooks Online, just making sure that it all tallies. Consolidated e-invoice, when should you be submitting it? How frequent should you be submitting it? You can do console e-invoice every week, every day, every month. So you need to set the finance policy. Oh, great. Let's look at the purchasing department, or we call it procurement department. What are some of the processes that you should consider? Number one is the turnaround time to perform a 3-way match because of the 72-hour rule. So now you would probably be doing the matching of purchase order, delivery order, and supplier invoice. So with e-invoice, you would need to check the validity of the e-invoice by scanning the QR code. Yep. And then if your supplier does not give you an e-invoice, then you need to start to ask yourself if you would be doing self-bill or what confirmations you need to be doing with your supplier. And next, for the procurement department, it's to how to evidence that work has been done to check the validity of e-invoice. So there should be some evidence, it could be in the form of a stamp or the approval workflow, etc. And even more importantly, with the e-invoice mandate coming, it's an opportunity to review who are you buying from. Yeah. Should you continue to buy from suppliers who doesn't have e-invoice? So this will affect, operationally and procurement policies, etc. Okay, for the human resource department, what are some of the policies that you need to look at? It's definitely your employee handbook and making sure that your employee handbook has the policies to cover employment benefits and payment of behalf of employer. The 3 steps, where as much as possible, staff are required to get e-invoice in the company's name to the extent possible, failing which, get an e-invoice in the name of the employee, and failing which, you got to get a receipt or an invoice like what you have usually done. So these steps must be clearly stated in the employee handbook and HR policies. Staff claim process, how do you process claims? How is it going to be different with e-invoice coming along? And one advice that I will give to businesses is that give your company's e-invoice information to all your staff. Let them carry this information with them everywhere they go. Company's TIN number, business registration number, MIC code, so that whenever they make a purchase on behalf of the company, they can immediately give your company's information to the vendor for them to issue an e-invoice. Okay, moving on to IT department. What should IT department be looking at? It's to assess which software to use to submit e-invoice. Would it be your point of sale system? Would that be your customer relationship management system? Or would that be your accounting software like QuickBooks Online? Yeah. Assess, see which one works best, and hook that up to my invoice portal. Also look at, whether the system is ready, how ready, etc. And most likely to be liaising with the software vendor, whichever software that you choose, liaising with the software vendor to make sure it's really ready to go and ready to be hooked up to my invoice.